Hi, readers. Welcome back. Today, for our Women's History Month read aloud, we are going to be reading about a really incredible girl. Her name is Ashima Shiraishi, and she is the youngest climber to ever attempt some really difficult climbs. Because in rock climbing, there are really easy climbs, like climbing up a ladder, and they're really difficult climbs. And you can see her right here when she was a little girl, and she's really high up on some kind of cliff or rock wall. And you can tell how high up she is because her dad is down here holding the rope. So she's up on the side of this cliff. Here is a picture of her. It looks like she's a little bit older in this picture. When she started climbing, she was 9 years old or 6 years old, pretty young. In this picture, she looks like she's a teenager, but she is climbing a rock wall in New York City. And you can see because the buildings are behind her. So, we are going to be reading How to Solve a Problem. And as we read, notice how Ashima feels about problems and what we can learn from her. So, this is How to Solve a Problem, the Rise and Falls of a Rock Climbing Champion. I am Ashima. What I do is climb. What I do is solve problems, which is to say, I make them mine. We climbers call our boulders problems. We also call our problems problems, and to solve them both is sort of the same. Once I had a problem and it stretched into the sky. It was tremendously endless. It was bigger than thinking. It was as huge as the air or the night or the planet. It was a problem bigger than any I had ever seen, and I have seen plenty. There were twists and turns. There were places that looked as slick as glass. One part was arched like a question mark. Another part stuck out like my father's elbow in a photo I have seen of him dancing. And another was shaped like the bolts of fabric stacked in my mother's sewing room. There were many parts, and none of them looked easy. Notice how she's mapping out the different parts of the boulder or the problem. I sighed, clapped my hands full of chalk, which is what I do before I solve a problem. I held this problem in my head. I mapped out every step, each place I would put my hand, and then I began to climb. Dug my toe into the dot of the question mark, jammed my fingertips into the bend of my father's dancing elbow, kicked my leg over my mother's fabrics. And then, for a moment, the world slipped out from under me. I was climbing on nothing but air. The ground beneath me rushed up and pressed into my back like the hand of a giant named Gravity. So I dusted myself off. Dad asked how I was feeling. He passed me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and for a while we just sat there. Then, when I was ready, I looked at the problem again with the new information the fall had given me. Each fall is a message, a hint, an idea, a new way to move from over there to over here. And so I started, and so I fell, and so I climbed again, listening to what the fall had told me. The problem that was endless, which I broke into little pieces, the problem that gave me hints with each fall. And surely and quickly I climbed the wall. I dug my fingers there and here and stretched my arms like ropes. I threw my body through the air and caught myself in all the ways I'd imagined. A bright path of thinking. And there, at the top of the problem, I looked down at the bolts of fabric, the dot of the question mark, the bend of the elbow, and I waved hello at the memory of how hard the problem was. Readers, how do you think Ashima's feeling? And looked for one problem more. And then this is a timeline, so it says Ashima's ascent. And an ascent means a climb up. So April 3rd, 2001, Ashima Shiraishi is born to Suya and Hisatoshi Shiraishi. Data is not available for when Ashima figures out how to climb out of her crib. At age 6, Ashima begins climbing at Rat Rock in Central Park, New York. And Central Park is a lot like Golden Gate Park. It's a big park in New York. Age 7, Ashima enters her first climbing competition. At age 7. Age 8, Ashima solves the problem, Power of Silence, in Hueco Tanks, Texas. This boulder is rated V10 for difficulty, a grade only expert climbers can achieve. Age 9, Ashima climbs her first V11 and V12 problems, including Rogered in the Shower and Chablanque and Hueco Tanks. Age 10, Ashima becomes the youngest person ever to climb a V13 problem, Crown of Aragorn and Hueco Tanks. Only elite climbers and professionals can climb at this grade. She was only 10 years old. Age 13, Ashima climbs Golden Shadow in Rockland, South Africa, pictured in this book, her first V14. At age 14, Ashima becomes the first woman in the world to climb a V15 boulder problem, Horizon and Mount. I have to zoom in. Oh, there we go. Mount Hae, Japan. She is the second person ever to solve this problem. Age 15. Ashima sweeps the IFSC Youth World Championships for her third year running and also places first in the SCS Nationals. What comes next? The sky's the limit. So that was how to solve a problem. I hope you learned a little bit more about Ashima, and I hope you think about what problems mean and what you can learn from problems. Because just like Ashima taught us, there's a lot that we can learn from our problems or challenges that come up. So if you are doing the activity on Seesaw, you can think about how Ashima felt about her problems and what she did to achieve her goals. All right, readers, thanks for listening and reading along to this Women's History Month Read Aloud, and I will see you next time. Bye.